Have you been struggling with Amazon PPC? Maybe you've seen your ACoS go up recently without a real impact on your actual sales. Well, in this video, I'm about to show you 5 optimization strategies that you can use for your Amazon PPC campaigns even if you're a complete beginner. So strap yourself in because this training is going to be very powerful. Take lots of notes, and if you haven't already, please join my private group. We're a close-knit tribe, and this is where I release some awesome Amazon PPC trainings. That way you can be the very first to know when I have a new one out. So without further ado, let's get into the Amazon PPC training that you need to know about in 2019 in order to be successful. Alright, so optimization tip number 1. You need to update your bids at least once every week. Now the reason for this is because as new competitors enter the auction, Amazon's going to be looking at different variables. And as you know, they have up, down, down, and fixed bids. So if you're only doing a fixed bid, for example, and your competitors are optimizing a percentage to be at the very top of page 1 for X keywords, then you're going to have a hard time competing with them because they're going to be paying a little bit more, and they already have it built into the Amazon PPC algorithm to automatically update their bids for them instead of them doing it manually to show up at the very top of the first page. Now, if you're, again, just a fixed bid and you only have one bid, you're moving like a snail essentially when all your competitors are optimizing at least once a week their bids, or they have Amazon do it for them. And so what happens is if you don't change your bids, if you're not feeding new variables to Amazon's algorithm, then you're going to start to see your impressions go down. And what happens is when you see your impressions go down, sellers jump to the gun real quick and they want to raise their bids because they're thinking, I'm just bidding too low. But that's not necessarily the case. What's happening is you're not feeding automation into your bid structure. So you're just getting less impressions to the sellers who are feeding automation to the bid structure. So in this scenario, even if you raise your bids, Amazon's going to take the money. Don't get them wrong. They'll take the higher bids, but the higher bids don't necessarily mean more conversions. I hope that makes sense. Higher bids do not necessarily mean higher conversions. It just means that you're going to be paying more per click because you want to show up more and more, when really it's not necessarily the highest bid. It's the account that's showing Amazon the most variables to work with, okay? And they're making it very apparent that they really like this bid automation system that they have going on, up, down, and you can even put up to from 10% all the way up to 900%. And so there is a wide range of opportunity for you to take advantage of as an Amazon seller if you just leverage Amazon's new bid structures and don't just have them all broad, right? So leverage Amazon's new bid structures, or if you don't want to do that and you want to just stick to your fixed bids, then at least change the bids once a week. Just once a week, just so you can manually feed new variables for Amazon to work with. And so a good rule of thumb would be the very first week, stay at your fixed bid. Week 2, do 20% below Amazon's or below your fixed bid. Let's just assume it's Amazon's suggested bid that you're working with. And then for week number 3, do 20% above what your fixed bid normally is. And you're going to have a clear indicator on what your CTR is and your conversion rate when you're looking at your metrics. So on week 4, go back and see which one you had the highest conversions at and keep it there for the 4th week. And then for the 5th week, go back to 20% below and so on and so forth. Now what you're going to see is, I know that sounds a little complicated, but what you're going to see is that your your conversions are going to change month to month. Some months you're going to see that your higher bids are getting you the most sales. Another month you're going to see your fixed bids are getting you the most sales. And others, your lower bids are getting you the most sales. And this is because you're constantly going to be feeding Amazon's PPC algorithm new variables to work with in the auction. And again, if you just keep the exact same bids, with a lot of sellers moving to bid automations and leveraging all the new features that Amazon PPC has to offer, not to mention product display ads, then it's going to be really hard for you just to compete. And it's not necessarily that you're not bidding high enough. It's just that you're not feeding the machine more variables to work with. Okay? You need to feed it more variables to work with in order for it to continually optimize for you. And so that's bid strategy number 1. Let's go to 2. All right, so optimization tip number 2, leave your Amazon PPC campaigns running longer. So if you don't already know, Zonrush is a global Amazon PPC management company, and we have two pretty strong attributes to our system. It's very unique. We have our own proprietary AI software that does a lot of the heavy lifting for us, that automates a lot of the bids like I just went over for our clients, but we also have a human touch. So we do edits once a week, and we combine AI and human intelligence to get our clients the best results. Now, what we're seeing across the globe, right, across Japan, Europe, all marketplaces that we help clients manage their Amazon PPC, we're seeing clients that have the campaigns running longer are essentially doing better. So the longer a PPC campaign is running, the better it's performing. And a minimum is 3 months from what we've seen. And we manage accounts from, just from 1 SKU all the way to 30,000 SKUs. So we have so much data that we're able to see on both a micro and macro view. And it's pretty astonishing. Before, let's say a couple years ago, it was common practice for Amazon sellers, sometimes PPC campaigns would just stop working. And so what people will do is they'll just pause them and restart new campaigns, and it'll act almost like a reboot to your campaigns. Well, we're starting to see the opposite happen. Amazon's really starting to integrate this algorithm. It's really starting to operate like a smart algorithm, and it's getting just smarter and smarter by the month. And so this is apparent because of all the tools that they have, especially for registered brands, all the analytical tools, all the tracking tools. It's very apparent that they're pouring more time into building an algorithm, almost like Facebook ads are getting smarter and smarter. They're integrating something very similar. And so the longer your campaign is running, the more data that particular campaign will have. So when Amazon taps into your product and they're bringing it to their auction, they're looking at all the data that your campaign already has. So they're using that data to make optimization tips or optimization actions, I should say, for your product. I hope that makes sense. So the longer your campaign is running, the more data it will have, which means the more data Amazon's algorithm will have to work with. And so you'd still need to, change your keyword bids, add continual keywords. You need to keep the keywords fresh as well. But the longer you can have a campaign running, the better it's going to do over time. So we're starting to see this as at about a 3-month mark, give or take, when PPC campaigns really start to pick up steam. So yeah, that's what we're seeing with the PPC campaigns. The longer they're running, generally speaking, they're going to start to perform better and better and better because you'll have more data. So with that one out of the way, let's go ahead and go to number 3. All right, so tip number 3, diversify your Amazon PPC campaigns. So what does that mean? Well, Amazon has an auto match type, exact, phrase, broad, and product targeting ads. So you really want to leverage all 5 of these match types. And the reason for this is because just because you have a keyword under an exact match, for example, there are also people who are going to mistype something or even have the exact keyword, but they'll have a word before another, and so it'll trigger your phrase. Or they could have not one of your keywords in it, and it'll be more broad, but it's still looking for the same products. So see, not everyone types in the exact same keywords when they're looking for products. And so that's why you do need to leverage exact, but you also need to leverage broad, and you need to leverage phrase. And auto is always good to have because auto does a couple things. Auto will have your listing as a product targeting ad, and it'll also show for broad keywords. So what you can do with an auto campaign is you can extract all the ASINs that you're making sales on and then build a product targeting ad with the ASINs that you're making sales. So that's one way to optimize an auto. And you're also running broad. So In an auto campaign, if you don't know which keywords are going to be the best right out the bat, running an auto campaign is especially important because you can extract those broad keywords and put them into your broad campaigns. And what's really neat about that is on your PPC reports for the auto campaigns, if you're making sales for broad keywords, odds are if you put those same keywords in a phrase and an exact campaign match type, odds are you're going to make sales in those different match types as well. So it's very important to leverage every single match type that Amazon offers you in order to maximize your product's placement, right? You want to maximize your product's placement in the Amazon market, on the Amazon marketplace, I should say. And so the best way to do that is to leverage every single type of match type Amazon's PPC algorithm has to offer. So that's tip number 3. Let's get into number 4. All right, so tip number 4, keep your campaigns under 100 keywords each. Now, it's pretty astonishing that Amazon sellers will have anything more than 100 keywords. And generally, I would say have less than 100, maybe closer to 50, but 100 if you have a ton of keywords that you want to start getting impressions on. So the reason why on a general basis you'll want to keep each campaign under 100 keywords is because anything more than that, you're not going to really see any sort of dent in sales. And if you are, they're going to be so spread apart because you're trying to maximize for too many keywords at once. It's better to have a campaign with at least 100 keywords. I mean, at most 100 keywords, not at least, at most 100 keywords, because what you're going to do month to month is all the keywords that, let's say, you're not making any sales on, you'll go ahead and take them out, and then you'll be able to push in new keywords. So you're constantly churning out, these 100 keywords in each campaign month after month. And if you don't know which keywords are the best, like I had just mentioned before, auto campaigns are great for this, and there's also really great softwares like Helium 10 that'll help you get sponsored ads keywords for your listing, and it'll show you the search volume and all sorts of neat things like that. So check out Helium 10 if you haven't already heard of it. And of course, I do have an affiliate link because I've worked out a deal with them where everyone who's subscribed to my channel gets 50% off. So that's pretty cool. But anything more than 100 keywords, you're overextending your budget. And so the best way to keep your budget, keep it nice and efficient, is to have no more than 100 keywords. And as the months go on, it's much easier for you to track which keywords are working and which ones aren't. And it'll be easier for you to pause the ones that aren't working, and easier for you to manage, adding more keywords and looking at your reports. And because when you look at your reports, what you're going to also want to pay attention to is your click-through rate. So if you have a high click-through rate, that means that keyword is resonating, and your odds are a higher CTR rate means more sales. And if you have more than 100 keywords, looking at all these percentages on an Excel sheet will look like, it'll give you nightmares looking at all these percentages. So keeping it manageable and paying close attention to your CTR on your PPC reports will be incredibly proficient. And one of my best rules of thumbs are the higher the CTR is on the keyword, generally I would like to keep those keywords in my campaigns running, because odds are the higher CTRs have the lowest ACoS. You can check that for yourself on your Amazon PPC campaigns. But like I mentioned, anything more than 100 keywords really overextend your campaigns. And though tempting, you want to show up for all your keywords at the exact same time, it's best to slowly feed these keywords into your campaigns, because remember, Amazon PPC is probably something you're going to have for the life of the product. So no need to rush and put all your keywords in at once. It's better to drip feed them, month to month, and continually have 100 keywords that you're testing and churning out. So that way you'll have a solid list of high converting keywords as the months go on. So let's now go to number 5. All right, so tip number 5, bid 50% below Amazon's suggested bid for some of your main keywords. Now, here's the reason why. As new competitors enter a particular niche, everyone's going to be competing for those really juicy, high volume keywords, right? Everyone's going to be bidding all those, so which means that the bids for the keywords that have the most search volume will continually go up, making it very hard for you to sustain profitability. And also it makes it very hard for you to bring attention to some of the maybe longer tail keywords that you might have a higher conversion rate on. So a lot of times you'll start to see revenue, your ACoS go up without revenue going up, because there's certain keywords in your campaigns that are just eating up your budget quickly. And odds are it's those high volume keywords. Now, you do want those high volume keywords in your campaigns, but you do not want to be paying premium price for those keywords. If you keep it 50% below Amazon's suggested bid, you'll still show up for some of those juicy keywords. You're just not going to be paying the premium price, right? So this will allow you to allocate resources to some of your longer tail keywords that might have a higher click-through rate and a higher conversion rate. And so while everyone's competing for those top keywords, you're at the bottom collecting sales from all the long tail keywords. And that's really where you want your campaigns to be, because that will allow you to sustain profitability, continually grow it without increasing your costs. All right. And so what happens is, if you're not on top of this, you'll quickly see your Amazon PPC campaigns eating into your budget, because only a handful of keywords they're just taking it all out, right? And so keep the bids 50% below. It'll really protect your account and allow you to scale your profits. Now, in this next video, I'm about to show you step by step how to optimize by the phrase time. Now, we just went over 5 tips that you're going to need to optimize your campaigns today that you can implement. And now I'm about to show you how you can churn out new keywords on a campaign level. That way you stay profitable and keep your account, maximize the domination for your product. You need your product all over the place to overwhelm your competition. Now, again, if PPC is still something that is a little bit out of your scope, and if you're not seeing the results from what you're currently doing, you can check us out, ZonRush. We are an automated Amazon PPC service for Amazon sellers on a global scale, so we'd be more than happy to help you and see if we can improve your sales without increasing your costs. And again, check out this next video, join my private group, the link is below in the description, and like always guys, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.